different property managers also include different things, right? I tend to actually include much more than is required by my job. But because I have wonderful clients that I really do love, such as Orit. You know, so some property managers will charge you for things like paying your utilities for you at the property, or getting them turned on, or opening bank accounts for you, or things like that, because that's not standard, right? So some will even charge you just to talk to you, which is, for me, crazy, I know. But they do, the bigger companies. So the smaller companies, you know, it really depends, because a really small company, they either will not be able to communicate with you a lot of the time, but they'll charge you way less. So they'll do the leasing and the regular day-to-day stuff and charge you for anything else. So they'll tell you, okay, in eviction charges, they're going to charge you to file the eviction, to set up the attorney. They're going to charge you to pay your water, taxes, insurance, so on. They may not get that set up for you. They may tell you you have to do it yourself. And then other companies like mine, where we're in the middle of a small company and a big company, will do everything for you that is feasible. So I can't set up a bank account for people if I don't have the right of attorney, the power of attorney to do it, right? But I will pay your utility bills, your taxes, insurance from the rental income. But if you don't have enough properties for the rental income to cover that, that's your responsibility still. So I'll provide you a link to, here's how you pay your taxes. Here's the insurance company. Here's his contact information. You can call them to set up the arrangements and so on. We'll send you the notices when things are due and so on, but you'll still have to be the one responsible to pay for it.
You have to, okay, but you have to write it down, because when you check PM, you have to know all the answers, because if who pays what, and what they are doing, and what happen if you have to eviction, if I have to pay it, I don't have to pay it. It's everything on the contract, in the contract of the PM and you. Okay, this is very important, because that's why I asked Emma this question, because sometimes the property manager can do more, but everything in writing as we study.
For me, I am really picky. I have the luxury of being picky, and therefore I do it. So my minimum of properties is 5, which is really like way less than I even want. But I have a 5 property minimum because as a single owner or an owner of just a few, sometimes you could be a little bit too overbearing on property managers. So you don't want to call every day. But you have to have the answers to your questions. So if they're not giving you the answer to your question, then you need to fire them. But if you want to make sure that you're not asking the same things over again. You understand that it's an investment. It's not your home, so it's not to include your emotion into it, right? It's not emotional. It's literally just numbers and just the steps, and follow the steps, and that's it.
Enjoy, I see. JC.
So that's the major. That's why I don't take that and the accounting, because I take my duties for accounting very seriously. I give very detailed reports. Most property managers will only print out the software statement for you, which is sometimes it could be incorrect and it doesn't give you that much detail, and so that's why I have a minimum, because I do the accounting. I open the bank account, make sure we reconcile everything, pay all your expenses and all that. So you just want to make sure you're not, the main things is being overbearing about, okay, when is this going to be done? When is this going to be done? When you have to let them do their job, but also if they're not doing it.
It's 20.
Well, they should, if you're a good manager, you're giving updates, right? So if they're not giving you an update, for example, I use WhatsApp. I send videos, I send pictures, I send recordings. They can log in. You could Google the property and see it's listed, because if you can't, there's a problem, That's a good reason to call every day. So there's certain things you really want to give them the time to do it. Make sure that you trust your team that they're going to do their job. If you don't see them doing it, then you have a problem you should call. But the second thing is the maintenance. You need to understand things are going to happen with the properties. It is a property. Most of the time they're older. You are going to have to pay for an AC or a roof or $500 for the sewer or something like that. So not to be emotional, make sure you have your reserves and make sure you don't question every single dollar. That's a really great question, and actually something I should clarify to my clients more. Because basically, it's not, my job is to let them know that broke, okay, you can either go with the contractor I provide or go with your own. But the thing is, because, I try, yes. So, yeah. I try and find the best companies or contractors that'll give you the best price. But some people are still unhappy with that. So then at that point, you have to find your own. If you don't like what I provide, then with a major thing over, let's say over $500, then I will provide you 3 bids. And after that, you don't like it, then I can't manage the property because the thing's not getting done. Or you find another contractor who will do it, a qualified contractor who will do it, because I'm still gonna not manage it if they're super cheap, but it's hanging from the ceiling, like they didn't do a good job, So that's not the kind of, I don't want to be a slumlord, so that's not something I'm gonna be okay with.
Yeah, of course. Before you came, we were talking about contractors, maintenance people. A lot of the people here are going to buy, fix, and sell, some will rent. And have you ever had problems with contractors? And how do you find a good one and make sure they do the work?
That is a great question. Yeah, because
Clocking was worth coming to Israel for.
That is one of the biggest things I'm using now. But yes, that is the hardest part of my job. The hardest part, and I don't even charge for it. So finding a good contractor is the most important aspect of flipping. If you have a bad contractor, nothing will get done. It'll stay vacant. You won't be able to sell it. So get a good contractor before you start buying houses. It's really important. Verify it with pictures from his past work, references, check, Google him, anything, because a bad contractor will screw you over. Excuse my language, but it's true.
Just told them about Noah.
Oh, you did? Okay, yes, exactly. And sometimes they look extremely responsible. They seem like they have a big company. They seem like they'll be great, but then a lot of times these guys have personal issues that mess up their entire work. Someone gets sick in their family, they're gone. They just leave and that's it. Or they become emotional and they just start getting upset for no reason, and then they don't want to fix their work if they were bad, and so on. So you have to be very careful, have backups, and get insurance. I personally hate flips. I'm sorry. Personally, I hate it. There's good and there's bad. Everything in life is like that, right? So the good thing about flips is that you can make a lot of money in a relatively short period of time. Right, relative, yes, exactly. So that's the good part. Everything else is bad. So basically, it's really hard to find. It's very time consuming. You can get, if you don't know what you're doing and you follow wholesalers or bad agents, they can rip you off because there's no way you're going to make as much money as they say. And at the end of the day, you're lucky if you...
But we have a system.
If you have a system, then it should be fine and awesome. But basically, it's time-consuming. Rehab is always longer and much more expensive than they tell you. The end can be profitable, but it can take much longer than you expect. So for me, as just an agent, it doesn't make sense because I don't make as much and I spend much more time. As for you yourself, it's a great way to get some income, to start off. But really, as some of you already said, because you clearly know, your rental properties give you long-term cash flow. And that's really the goal that you want to get to, because you get appreciation and cash flow. So, you know, at the end of the day, you'll be able to sell it for maybe 1.5 times what you can right now, but you'll also get the money in the meantime while you're holding it. So really a property that isn't working is one that you want to flip, or one that you can sell for a lot right now is one that you want to flip.